Okay, so you're concerned about risk against PADI
I'm in charge
and
of
also
training. I'm in
quality.
charge of quality management. I'm in charge of risk management. I'm in charge of instructor development.
I mean, that could be a conflict of interest because quality would
I've
definitely.
been with PADI for 33 years.
Well, I mean, it seems
So
like you're not trying to listen to what I'm trying to
I'm
say, that
trying to
it's very
help you
concerning.
solve your problem.
I'm trying to say it's very concerning that an instructor can check off skills that were not done, obviously not done, and then you guys will say, "Oh, paperwork looks good," because the instructor is going to check it off. So if you have any problems with any audits against instructors or dive centers, they'll just check it off. Obviously, they'll check it off even before then because they'll just say the course is complete. But there's no actual verification that it actually happened, and you guys are just gonna go, oh, the paperwork says
If
that
we
has a
verify
checks.
that hey Fred,
Yeah.
if we verify that violations were committed, we'll take the appropriate action.
And how would you verify these? Because the paperwork looks great because there are checks by the instructor on these boxes. That's funny. It never happened. We never did
Because
the
in,
inflatable.
in addition to your statement, when I send you this document and you say you didn't do this, you didn't do that, whatever, okay? We also, every PADI certified diver in certain, particularly when there's a quality management concern, the member goes on a 100% survey, and we send out course evaluation questionnaires to see if we can see any patterns of frequent omissions, disregard of standards, whatever. We monitor what the pattern is, and if we see enough problems, then we address it, and we either take corrective measures to fix it, or we take punitive action to either suspend or possibly even terminate the member.
You know as much as
So
I do that these surveys that you're gonna say.
those are things that
Let me just say this: a student will not know what they missed if they don't know what they missed, and it's not even required to read the book.
and isn't that true? Isn't that true with any class you take in any school?
Hi, this is Boycott Patty. Thank you for listening to the first part. Now let's take a listen to the second part of the recording. Because yeah, it doesn't seem like you want to hear any of my complaints. You didn't even ask me about the sexual harassment. You said, "Oh, we're going to look into that," and things like that. I very much doubt anything will be looked into, and it just seemed like your quality assessment is just a joke because it's just these boxes being marked off on that whatever, like the inflatable thing. The instructor will just mark it off. That's kind of a joke. That's why I suggested as a I mean, you can forward to your legal department if you want, because it just seems like you care more about legality and basically risk assessment instead of actual real quality. But what I was just suggesting in the future, if you have students initial these boxes, it might actually keep dive centers honest. As a suggestion, that would actually help your PADI program improve or be better at promoting quality. Because if your response is, "Oh, we're going to forward to our legal department about this," but the thing is, I'm just making an honest suggestion that if students are actually initialing these,
I've noted your suggestion, Frank.
and you're going to forward to the legal
Yes,
department instead of actually being yourself and thinking about if that's
I will
better.
talk to our legal department about it.
Well, I mean, you're the director of quality, so if this is something that you think is actually good for students, you would implement it. It's not something that you have to check the legal department because it's nothing illegal to have students initial that they did these skills. Like let's say, basically, let's say there's a box for weight dropping, if that's a skill. The person initials it because that helps your overall auditing. But instead of just allowing the instructor to basically check anything off that he wants without actually doing it, because it seems that skills were skipped, uh, especially the inflatable orange thing that was skipped, and he has it checked off. So I'm just trying to give you a recommendation to help you improve at your job, but it seems that you're very defensive. It's like, oh, we're going to forward to our legal department. That's not something that you have to forward to your legal department to implement because initialing skills, having the student initial skills, has nothing to do with legality.
You're sort of verifying that your training was insufficient.
You already promised that I'm going to get my cards. Are you trying to take back that? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Are you there?
I mean, you're raising these concerns that raise our concerns about the training you received.
So
are you arguing that you shouldn't be certified?
Am I arguing what?
Are you arguing that you shouldn't be certified?
I am not arguing I shouldn't be certified. I told you, asked you, am I going to get these cards within the 2 weeks? And you said yes. And then I said, now I can talk about my concerns with the class. Because, like I said...
Okay, so I am noting your concerns to follow up on them, but I still haven't received an answer to what else would you like PADI to do for you. And one thing I brought up was you asked for an enriched air code due to your inconvenience. Is that something you want?
I don't think we're there yet because I was explaining things that are wrong with PADI, the class, etc., in the system to give you suggestions for you to improve quality or to basically better investigate this dive center, or not this dive center, but this instructor, because I was giving you specific things that would help you. But basically, you want to divert it to what do I want? For sure, I did ask for the codes, but we're not there yet. We're not at that. We're not on that conversation yet.
What is your background and education that causes you to provide this kind of suggestion? I mean, are you?
I'm a teacher. I was a teacher.
Field, or?
I was a teacher.
You're a school teacher?
I was teaching high school.
What are you now?
I'm not teaching right now. I was teaching high school in China, but I'm not a teacher right now because I can't go to China right now because of the borders are being closed. Well, anyways, I don't think that has anything to do with me. This conversation has personal questions have nothing to do with it because, hey, I'm asking you about basically helping you improve your program, and you're like being defensive, like, oh, what is your background to give us these suggestions? Well, I was an English teacher in China. I'll just leave it at that. But I left China.
That's good to know.
Well, but that has nothing to do with you asking me, like, you're just basically attacking the person ad hominem by saying, oh, what is your background to give us suggestions about improving our program? Who are you to give us suggestions? Well, these are good suggestions. Initialing checklists, having the student do that so that way the instructor cannot fraudulently basically check things off. Second was I was going through these issues about your program that could help you improve, but it doesn't seem like you guys want to listen because you're diverting back to what do I want? What do I want? I don't want to listen to this. I want to see what you want. But I was trying to give you all these things I had to say because it's easier to tell you over the phone rather than the 107 emails that you said or combined with it with me, Mr. Ali, etc., whatever, 100 plus that are combined with Ali, myself, in the case file. Well, I'm trying to help basically give you suggestions, and it doesn't seem like you want to hear this. But I was moving on to giving you other things. But I don't feel like I should go on and do this because it's going on deaf ears. So yeah, let's go with what do I want? And you talk about the codes. So what are you going to say there? You led the conversation towards that subject, then go ahead. You talk about this then.
Well, is that something you still want?
I feel, and then also one last thing I want to say that you actually backtracked. Oh, it's like right now you're saying that it doesn't feel like you feel that you had adequate training. Well, of course I don't feel I had adequate training. And then now you're trying to take back sending the cards, even though in the beginning I told you, asked you, are you going to send these cards? And you say yes. within, like mail takes 2 to 3 days, something like that. So I would definitely get it, And I just say, hey, as long as they get in the next 2 weeks, that's fine. And you said it was going to be processed. You did promise. So check it out. PADI will retaliate against students that have passed their classes according to their instructor. I passed both my classes, but I complained to PADI about sexual harassment and poor quality training. Guess what happened? Although Johnny did promise me he was going to process the cards, PADI has revoked that promise, and they won't send me the cards. So if students complain about instructors and PADI retaliates and has a history of retaliating against students that have complained about instructors, then that makes their QA process unethical and wrong. So if their QA department retaliates against students, which they have done, why would anyone want to complain about instructors or dive centers to PADI? Because it opens them up to having their cards not processed or their cards taken away. So by doing this, by PADI retaliating against students that are complaining, they, or in essence, helping the bad instructors or bad dive centers. Because why would anyone want to complain about a dive center or instructor if PADI is going to retaliate? What's the point in doing that, complaining? You're fearful of this retaliation, so you won't complain. And these dive centers won't have these complaints against them. And if these dive centers don't have these complaints against them because students don't want retaliation from PADI corporate, then bad dive centers and bad instructors keep on going. This is very problematic because you have heard in the first part of the recording of this video that I showed you that PADI, according to Johnny Whitstein, he or PADI goes by a pattern of behaviors. Then they can act if there's a pattern of behaviors. They also go by questionnaires. But the problem with this going by patterns of behavior in the questionnaires, the surveys, is the retaliation. Why would someone complain to PADI? Why? If there is retaliation, because PADI can decide not to process your cards, they can decide not to talk to you anymore. You complain, and you can get screwed for complaining. So this process opens PADI up for liability in dive accidents and deaths from PADI classes and dive centers, because they cannot claim they're not liable because of their own policy of quality assurance. This is PADI corporate, Johnny Whitstein, saying that he was going to promise me the cards. And you see the email from before. But the legal department decided not to. That's retaliation. I passed both classes. I complained to PADI. And they're not processing any of my cards. This opens PADI up for legal liability.